Tsukisune was fighting valiantly against Eurythocles. She was able to thwart off most of the attacks with her kitsune agility. Tsukisune could see frustration building in Eurythocles with each missing blow. The more frustrated he became, the brighter the stone adhered to his forehead became. The brighter the stone became, the more powerful his attacks became as well. She barely managed to avoid one of his strikes to her face. The glowing green fist produced an energy blast that took out a portion of the trees behind her. Tsukisune quickly used her three tails to wrap around Eurythocles' arm and swung him to the ground. Eurythocles quickly rolled himself up and took out his trusted sword Ascalon. Tsukisune outstretched her hand over the earth and recited an acrosmic spell she learned from her teacher, the great necrowitch Julia Legrand. The earth beneath her hand shifted, and rising from the dirt was a fox-like bone sword she called her Kitsu Blade. Julia Legrand wasn't sure why Tsukisune's necrosmic magic would always create kitsune versions of the spells she taught, but felt it quite unique and pushed the thoughts aside. The two clashed swords. The sounds of the clashing weapons brought focus and clarity to Tsukisune. The sound from the battles taking place around the field were disappearing with each blow. The two warriors were pouring all their energy to overtake the other. Tsukisune fighting for her right to return to her homeland of Fantasia, the land of the kitsune just beyond the veil, and Eurythocles fighting to gain the status of god. Tsukisune lost focus for a mere moment when her kitsune nose picked up a foul odor. She turned to see the digger's body burning at the end of the monstrous warrior's trident. She also saw the electric nerve's body on the ground with her head turned unnaturally 180 degrees around. This small distraction allowed Eurythocles to gain advantage as he struck Tsukisune hard in the face. Her body flew across the field and she quickly regained her footing by driving her Kitsu blade into the ground to slow herself down. Eurythocles was advancing on Tsukisune when he froze. Tsukisune realized that Eurythocles wasn't the only one on the battlefield to stop moving. The sounds of fighting and energy attacks quickly halted. In fact, as she looked around, the attacks were frozen in place in midair. Tsukisune! It is an absolute honor to meet you. Standing next to Tsukisune was a green-skinned being with pink hair. They stood close to 6 feet tall wearing a blazer. They had purple goggles hanging around their neck with golden rims. A golden device wrapped around their arm with an insignia of a sideways K or perhaps a V with an underline. They carried a large book underneath their left arm. The weirdest thing in the being's possession was a blue stone adhered to the outside of their right hand, like that of Eurythocles' greenstone. It was currently glowing and producing a blue bubble around the two of them. Who are you? And what's happening? Kosh V explained everything to Tsukisune. Kosh V began by explaining that they were the page-turner of this dimension. They were the keeper of the stories of heroes and villains, and knew everything that happened and knew, in some regard, what was yet to happen. Kosh V explained how Chronites are protectors of the dimensional multiverse, and something strange happened. You see, not long ago, Eurythocles over there was able to create a breach in my dimension. The only way for me to save the other Chronites of my realm was to jump into this one. Somehow I believe you. What caused the breach? Eurythocles found one of the 5 cosmic stones. These stones have a way of calling each other. They have a will all their own. They want to try to become whole. What doesn't make sense to me is, my stone isn't supposed to be activated or be in effect until after the war is over. Something has rewritten the stories in my multiversal tomb. The two spoke for a few minutes about the dimensional multiverse and what the original outcome of the war was. The two agreed to work together to make sure the future Eurythocles plans won't come to pass. The glowing blue light from Kosh V's stone began to dim. I won't be able to stop time again until tomorrow, so we better make sure we win this war today. Agreed. There's one thing I must warn you about. It's about your teacher. Don't trust her. Tsukisune was about to say something back, but time began to move again. Nagato Nerve came in striking at the three of them with his lightning ability. Eurythocles laughed at the tickling sensation. Tsukisune blocked it with her Kitsu blade, and Kosh V was swooped into the air by someone with angel wings. The young lady with angel wings was Tennessee's very own hero, Captain Air. Captain Air gained her abilities by drinking an experimental liquid that awakened her Evo X gene. Since then, she has gained the abilities to fly with the use of her avian wings, change the density of her wings at will, and shoot sharp feathers like throwing knives. Captain Air quickly assessed the situation from the sky before landing Kosh V safely on the ground. Captain Air knew several of the faces on the field from watching news reports of her favorite heroes and of the escaped prisoners from the Supermax facility. There were of course plenty of faces she did not recognize, but was certain that she could determine the difference between good and evil. Julia couldn't help but stare at the now lifeless corpse that was Forrest Tran, aka the Electric Nerve. Julia Legrand lay there on the ground with rage building up. What's more, she knew Cece and Nala were planning on using Brooke's already injured body to fight her. From the corner of her eye, she made out a woman approaching them with a large whip surging with electricity. When the woman approached the field, she quickly realized that the three were familiar, and the numbers against Julia were continuing to grow.
I promised Tsukisune that I wouldn't do anything too evil with my abilities. But you guys crossed the line when you took that young lady's life away.
Oh, did we cross the line, Nala? I don't believe we did, Cece. Now why don't we be nice to this old grandmother, Nala? Yes, let us reconnect her with her friend, Cece. Julia Legrand crawled over to Forrest and placed her hand over her chest. She then began to recite an acrosmic spell she hadn't used in ages. Electress came in from behind the Twins of Terror and wrapped her electric whip around Julia's neck. The needle end managed to penetrate Julia's spine, and a surge of electricity ran through her body. The whip was designed by Electress to cause paralysis once the needle penetrated the spine. However, there was a dark ancient magic at play, and something very unexpected happened. Julia channeled the electricity through her body to amplify the spell she was casting. Her eyes were glowing as she peered past Electress and directly at Cece and Nala. Soon the twins felt their hearts racing and thumping. They were in agonizing pain as Julia began to smile. Julia was sapping the soul of Forrest Tran, while simultaneously absorbing the life force from the twins. Electress couldn't do anything to stop the old witch. Brooke attempted to stop Julia from killing because it was against the hero's unspoken code. Brooke was met with a magical force that knocked him out immediately. Julia then began to glow and shed her pudgy figure. Julia was temporarily regaining her youth and increasing her natural magic. The twins fell silent, and the glowing stopped. Before Electress was Julia Legrand at her peak in a long black dress. Julia took a quick look at herself and snapped her fingers. Her dress and leggings changed. She now had a purple witch's robe, striped leggings, sneakers, and a floral shirt. Her hat was unchanged, and her wand returned to her hand. Julia felt the power within her overflowing. She wanted to make quick work of Electress so she could turn her sights on Ceruthocles, who took her life a year ago. Electress was trembling as Julia Legrand used her wand to summon skeletal beings from the ground. Their hands grabbed at Electress's legs and began to drag her slowly into the ground. Ella was still very young and inexperienced when it came to heroics. Her abilities manifested when a chemical compound made physical contact with her skin. Ella's abilities developed almost immediately. It all started with her ability to levitate off the ground and float above the trees. She managed to discover how to fly soon after, and with this newfound ability adopted the hero name, Flyer. With help from her two best friends, Peyton and Hayes, Ella became a hero who could provide support to those in need. Ella joined Tsukisune with the idea that she could provide aerial support for the team the same way she had helped other heroes in the past. Unfortunately, when the lunar god Ion snapped his fingers, Ella found herself face to face with an opponent of her own. A fierce, grotesque bat with an exposed metal skull where its face should be. Ella had been flying around the sky hoping to get the bat tired, but it, like her, could fly effortlessly, and could probably stay airborne for a lengthy period of time. Her opponent was the Bone Bat. In his old life centuries ago, he was known to the world as Caliban Caverina. His fate and his life were now in the hands of a man who changed him into the bat that he is today. The Bone Bat was closing in quickly on Ella when suddenly a chunk of earth flew from the sky and collided with his skull. The earth crumbled, cracked, and fell as the Bone Bat was unharmed. His skull was made of the strongest known metal on the planet, Metal X. Ella witnessed this and began doubting herself. How could she possibly fight another flying Evo who had another skill or ability? She looked around the sky to see the blower shrieking wind sights towards the ground, and uncontrollable manipulating the elements of air, water, fire, and earth. There was even a newcomer with angel wings that was shooting sharp-looking feathers at Ceruthocles. How could she ever compete with them? There's no way that she could. The doubts continued to sinking deeper into Ella. Distracted by her self-doubt, the Bone Bat collided with Ella's chest, and Ella began falling towards the ground. She was lucky she had her new costume on because the armor she had may have just saved her life and just saved her sternum from cracking. Ella braced herself for the impact as she collided with the tree and several branches on the way down. Miraculously, the branches slowed her down enough that she didn't sustain major injuries. As the Bone Bat flew towards Ella, he was met with a bullet to the head. The bullet didn't even leave as much as a scratch on the metallic skull of his. Down below was a woman dressed as a pirate.
"Well, will ye look at that there? A fancy bird fit for a pirate captain."
The bone bat changed his target to the pirate. He flew in quick, readying his skull-crashing attack. Captain Pirate Olivia constructed a chain with an anchor out of bones in just seconds. She lassoed the chain around the bat's torso, and the anchor weighed it down so it couldn't get too far. The bone bat struggled to get away.
You might have a hard head, but the rest of your body, just be a weak bird.
Ella was getting up from the ground, witnessing what the pirate had just done. The pirate was able to deduce the weakness of her opponent in seconds. Ella was struggling with her emotions. Still, she tried to stand and continue fighting. The pirate looked over at Ella and told her that she had a lot of moxie. Then she proceeded to ask Ella if she would want to join her crew, along with her new pet bird. What kind of hero would I be if I just jumped ship? Captain Pirate Olivia, disappointed by the response, constructed a pistol out of bones and fired at Ella. Ella flew swiftly into the air to avoid the barrage of bone bullets.
Ye be swift, birdie, but I be swifter.
Captain Pirate Olivia constructed wings out of bones and flew to the sky with her bone pistol in hand. Ella was shocked to see the pirate flying. Now this was another ability user who could fly and do more with their own abilities than Ella ever could. Ella was frozen in the sky with her self-doubt. Captain Pirate Olivia pulled the trigger on her bone pistol. Instead of a bone-constructed bullet, a bone-constructed net flew from the gun, wrapping around Ella and taking her to the ground. Ella didn't fight it. Perhaps she was in over her head thinking she could help the other heroes. Suddenly, the bone net was shattered by sharp feathers. Next to Ella in the sky was the girl she saw earlier with her angel wings. You must be Flyer. I'm Captain Air. Tsukisune sent me to help you. She said she was smelling self-doubt and depression coming from you. Ella was shocked. Is that what was happening to her? Was she becoming depressed in the middle of the battle? She used to have episodes of depression when she was younger and managed to cope with it over the years. When she got her abilities, her episodes lessened. It's possible that they were coming back.
There would be not enough room for two captains.
I couldn't agree more. Captain Air changed the density of her wings to defend herself against the bullets flying her way. The wings shielded her and protected her. Ella was amazed at how Captain Air could fly in the sky. Then Ella noticed several things from up in the sky. She had the perfect vantage point to see everything that was happening beneath her. Ella could see how everyone was moving and where they were going to move. Her keen eyesight might very well be what sets her apart from the other flyers. Ella smiled and was hopeful again. She was slowly coming out of her depression and beginning to see where she could help and fit in. Ella told Captain Air that she would be right back. Ella flew towards the ground quickly and released the bone bat from the chain and anchor. The bone bat then proceeded to chase after Ella. Ella, with a smile on her face, could see her plan working. She flew towards Captain Pirate Olivia, who was busy fighting Captain Air. Ella yelled the word, "Free fall!" Instantly, Captain Air understood and dropped out of the sky, along with Ella. The bone bat collided with Captain Pirate Olivia in the sky. The bone bat was fine, but Pirate Captain Olivia was knocked out cold. Ella caught the pirate captain and laid her on the ground. Captain Air flew after the bone bat, and Ella, the flyer, was ready to take the bat down. The Metal Samurai, Hiro Takamiya, was fighting alongside Tsukisune's Dragon of the Night, Zuko. Hiro was a veteran hero from Japan who recently joined Tsukisune's group. Since joining, his feelings for her grew, and he planned on asking her out on a proper date once the war was over. Zuko was always around Hiro, and the two became very close friends. Hiro and a majority of the team are unaware that Zuko and Tsukisune share a vitality link. The two are magically joined together. The other always knows what the other is thinking and how they are feeling. Zuko's fondness of Hiro is tied to how Tsukisune feels about Hiro. Hiro and Zuko were battling against Dr. Sophia Cord and Dr. Easton Watts, better known as the Brainiac. Dr. Cord was charging in towards Zuko with her bone claws protruding out from her knuckles. Zuko uses dragon fire in succession, but each blast missed their target. Dr. Cord, inches from Zuko, went in for the kill strike, but Hiro was able to manipulate the metal of his armor to create a protective shield in front of Zuko. While focused on protecting Zuko, the Brainiac came in with a vicious barrage of kicks and chops aimed at Hiro. Hiro was able to protect himself by manipulating the density of the metal armor before impact.
That is an impressive skill, Samurai. Allow me to share mine with you.
After the words left his brainy mouth, Hiro began seeing visions of a village on fire. He knew the village from his past. He quickly realized that he was trapped inside his worst nightmare, the day his village was attacked by the Dark Shogun. The Dark Shogun was a powerful warrior who commanded the shadows. This warrior only sought pleasure from destruction and showing his dominance over the weak. The only thing the Dark Shogun feared was someone with power who could rival his own. The night Hiro's village was attacked, he was only 10 years old. Word had somehow got into the Dark Shogun that a powerful ability user was living in the village. The irrational fear led to the destruction of many lives, including Hiro's parents and younger brother Sho. Brainiac smiled at the fear that was overtaking Hiro's mind. With Hiro's guard down, it was easier for him to get in a few good blows to Hiro's face and body. He knew well enough to not strike hard enough to break the mental trance, but hard enough to cause some swelling, bruising, and possible fracturing. While under the hypnotic trance, Hiro's brain wouldn't be able to send signals of pain until he fully snapped out of it. Dr. Cord was having fun attacking the little dragon. She slashed his face, horns, and side of his body, spilling blood in just mere minutes. Zuko knew that everything he felt was also being felt by Tsukisune. He was trying to defend himself and Hiro, but wasn't sure if he was going to be able to do either at this rate. From down the field appeared a dinosaur with an acid gun attached to his arm. The digestive dino came in spraying acid from his gun at everyone in the area. Brainiac avoided the attack and saw how quickly it was dissolving through the earth. Some drops landed on Hiro's armor, but only managed to dissolve a small amount of the metal. Dr. Cord had some of the acid land on her bone claws and immediately felt the searing pain burning through her right arm. Zuko took a major hit to the chest and roared in pain. Tsukisune could be heard screaming in as much pain from further down the field. Zuko was very badly injured but tried to fly away to prevent Tsukisune from being hurt. Brainiac quickly struck down the dragon with a swift chop to the back of the head. Zuko's face got slammed to the ground. The digestive dino swung his very large tail at the Brainiac and sent him flying into a bush. Dr. Cord, still holding her right hand, came in with a swift kick to the digestive dino's jaw, but his skin was just too thick. The digestive dino then took a hold of Dr. Cord's left arm and swung her into Hiro. "I am not the same scared little boy from that day, Dark Shogun." Hiro, still in a trance, manipulated his metal armor into a samurai sword. He swung his sword at Dr. Cord and sliced her down the middle. Blood splattered all over the ground and some onto Hiro. "Another shadow clone? Reveal yourself and fight with honor!" Hiro made eye contact with the digestive dino and ran towards him with his sword drawn. Brainiac got himself out of the bush and witnessed his companion split in two on the ground. Anger began to fill his mind. He released the trance Hiro was under because he wanted him to feel all the pain he unleashed earlier and all the pain he was going to continue to unleash. Hiro made it inches from striking the digestive dino when the sensation of pain overtook him. He felt the damage left from the Brainiac's punches and kicks when he was under the trance. Hiro knew he had at least 2 broken ribs and attempted to cradle his side. The digestive dino swung his mighty tail at Hiro and sent him flying to Brainiac, who was ready for him. Brainiac swung a Muay Thai elbow strike directly at Hiro's face. Hiro hit the ground and fell unconscious. Brainiac reached for a rock on the ground and was ready to finish the job when the digestive dino's body collided with him. Brainiac looked up and could see that something was happening to the little dragon. It was glowing and pulsing purple light. The light caught the attention of Jester, who was fighting Drake. Zuko began to roar and his body began to grow and change. The source of the light came from the stone that was adhered to his left horn. Zuko's 4 horns grew. His face became more elongated. His teeth became sharper. His body became that of a full-sized adult dragon. His legs became thicker, his tail longer, and his wings sharper. The wings glowed like the night sky. When his transformation was completed, suddenly the beautiful sunny skies disappeared, and they were met with the nightfall in the middle of the day. The bright full moon replaced the sun in the sky, and Zuko roared again. The battles taking place close to the dragon got quiet. Zuko flew to the skies and then produced dragon fire, mightier than the flames the monstrous warrior could produce. Zuko shot his fire wildly at the field. The forest was burning, and the forest animals were evacuating their homes. The champions continued to fight their war and avoided taking serious damage. Tsukisune was on the ground feeling like she was losing her mind, like her animal instincts were telling her to burn everything down. Perhaps it had something to do with Zuko. Julie Legrand told them that they would never age again, and Zuko would never become an adult-sized dragon. It would seem something has changed their destiny. The stones are continuing to call each other. They are gathering quicker than anticipated. Saruthocles' stone began to glow on his forehead. He looked over at Kashvi to see that their blue stone was glowing as well. The dragon's purple stone was hard to miss, and yet there was another on the field who was glowing in the night sky. That dragon has a stone. This might be my lucky day. After centuries of planning and manipulating events throughout history, I might finally have all that I have been searching for. Jester's right shoulder began glowing yellow. Minutes ago, Drake, codenamed Storm Surge, had been holding his own against the pumpkin-headed fighter. His lightning aura and him have been completely in sync for some time now. In the past, his lack of control would result in his lightning aura hurting him. Drake had been training with all the members of the group in the days leading up to the war. He wanted to get as much exposure to different ability users and fighters so he could hopefully be on equal footing with his arch-nemesis, Lady Cardiac. Drake learned meditation techniques from Metal Samurai that helped keep his mind and body balanced. Hand-to-hand combat from Tsukisune to handle situations for when his abilities may not be reliable, and most importantly, control from Cardio. Cardio's speed was a great test to see if Drake's lightning abilities would be fast enough to reach his rival's teleportation abilities. Even though he had failed to hit her once, his lightning became quicker, sharper, and more powerful as he focused his lightning. Jester was certainly not on the same level as Cardio. He was an easier target for Drake to hit, and yet Jester was moving around the field like he hadn't been zapped once. Jester launched his flaming pumpkin head at Drake, and Drake evaded it with ease. The head, however, continued to follow Drake across the battlefield. Drake attempted to shoot it down, but it somehow maneuvered to avoid the lightning in the air. As Drake focused on the head, Jester launched bats from his main body to strike Drake. Drake's aura coming alive protected Drake from the bats. Drake was shocked, but knew that this feeling had happened once before when he faced down Lady Cardiac. As the thought crossed his mind, before him appeared the teleporting mercenary. Before anything could be said, the pumpkin head exploded once it reached Drake. Drake was blasted across the field into a tree. Lady Cardiac was more fortunate. She teleported away on time and reappeared before Drake. Are you almost finished playing around with this pumpkin guy? I hate you. With your aura class, you should be able to put him down quickly. Hurry up so I can take you out myself. We have unfinished business. Drake wondered what his aura class had to do with fighting an Evo. Let me guess, you haven't figured it out yet. Your aura senses are as dull as ever. I bet you haven't even realized the aura girl on your team, have you? Hey, lady, are you saying that the pumpkin guy's an aura user like us? Ding, ding, ding. Correct. Well, it looks like you have me figured out. Now, what to do with you? As Jester was deciding on how to handle the two aura users, the events involving Zuko took place, and his focus shifted to Zuko Stone. The cosmic stones are almost all in one place. I guess there's no use trying to hide the truth now. Jester's right shoulder began to glow yellow. He was in possession of one of the cosmic stones. Jester had been in search of all 5 cosmic stones of power for the many centuries he had been alive. Jester is currently in possession of the life stone, which has been adhered to his right shoulder. The cosmic stone holds the ability to absorb life energy from all living things. It can also heal all wounds, protecting the wearer from suffering fatalities under all circumstances. With the stone, the wearer is in control of life itself. Jester began dissolving his false image in front of Drake and Lady Cardiac. The pumpkin head was replaced by copper skin, middle-length red hair, and a third eye on the center of the forehead. Muscles filled in where the skinny striped shirt and pants used to be. Standing around 5 foot 11 inches tall was Jester's real face and body. What just happened to you? Lady Cardiac said with aura surrounding her hands. Oh, you pathetic girl. I have finally shed the charade that was that Jester illusion. After all these centuries, I can be called by my true name, Nervoid. And I can finally have everything I want, everything the dimensions have to offer. Nervoid? Dimensions? Are you nuts, man? I forgot your dimension had been closed off for eons. You have no knowledge about what it is like out there in the dimensional multiverse. Nervoid began thinking about his journey to this current dimension. He had been an Aura user soldier fighting in the Aura Evo War. Nervoid would often be stationed on the back lines with the seemingly useless camouflage abilities. His fighting abilities were not up to par by army standards. Nervoid was treated terribly by the others in his platoon. He would be spat on, mocked, roughed up, and humiliated. When the Aura army took over an Evo base, Nervoid would be the one who would be tasked with sweeping the area while the real fighters celebrated. At one of the Evo bases, Nervoid learned something fascinating. He learned about the existence of 5 magical stones that held incredible power separately, but when put together, would give him tremendous power. Nervoid became desperate. He wanted to capture the cosmic stones so he could put them together to create the cosmic crown, an almighty relic that would grant him access to every dimension in existence and would allow him to shape any dimension according to his will. After a few more victories over the Evos, Nervoid was able to pinpoint the location of the 5 stones to a single locked dimension. I better not waste your last minutes of breath on that information. Nervoid channeled energy into his hands, and out came strings of energy that spread across the sky and field. The energy strings attached to several of the champions who were fighting, including Drake and Lady Cardiac. Nervoid's yellow cosmic stone of life glowed, and he began absorbing the life energy from everyone affected by the strings. The only ones not affected were the stone bearers, Tsukisune, Julie Legrand, Musculos, and the monstrous warrior. Tsukisune was on the ground screaming because the power inside of her was being amplified by her connection to Zuko. Zuko was in possession of the Amplify Stone. The stone amplifies the wearer's natural abilities to a level beyond their potential. With her vitality link in effect, Tsukisune was in the middle of transforming the same way her pet dragon had. Kashvi, witnessing everything unfold, activated the blue Chrono Stone. There's something that I must do before this gets out of hand. Cerithocles charged Kashvi with his sword Ascalon and swung it at their cosmic stone. Kashvi was able to protect themselves with the blue cosmic energy emitting from the stone. Cerithocles channeled green cosmic energy from the stone into their fist and released a massive wave of pure energy that made a crackling sound when it contacted with Kashvi's energy. Kashvi managed to avoid the attack, but used too much cosmic energy defending. Things aren't looking good right now, but if the stories I read still hold true, we're going to need you to finish your transformation, Tsukisune.
Is that what is happening? The little fox is transforming, and you think that will be enough to stop me? Let her transform like a butterfly emerging from a chrysalis. Then I will take it all away. Her hopes, her dreams, her friends, her home, and then finally, her life. This war is mine.
Really hope you guys enjoyed part 2 of the Gods and Champions War. I had a lot of fun with this one, from the student redraws to redrawing my old artwork, and coming up with the designs for Zuko and young Julie Legrand. That was a lot of fun. The story's getting really good, and there's only one episode left to conclude the Gods and Champions War saga. So after that final episode, I've got some big ideas about how you'll be able to help me on this channel and help me expand the S-verse. So remember to show this video some love, and subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you next Tuesday for our regularly scheduled video where I'll be taking characters from Avatar: The Last Airbender and turning them into fantasy beasts. I'll see y'all then. Y'all take care. Have a good one. Bye-bye.